What happens when the heir to a billion-dollar empire is left for dead by the very family who should protect him? In the heart of Munich, Marcus Adler, a powerful CEO, suffers a mysterious car crash that leaves him in a coma for over a year. Everyone abandons him. Everyone except a humble nurse, Naomi Carter. But when Marcus wakes with no memory, Naomi becomes his only lifeline. Together, they uncover a shocking truth. His accident wasn't an accident at all. It was a carefully planned betrayal. And the person behind it was one closest to him. This is a story of power, greed, betrayal, and an unexpected love that changed everything. Grab your popcorns, and let's dive into it. Naomi Carter pressed a warm towel against Marcus Adler's arm, her gentle hands massaging his weak muscles. Her dark eyes held something the other nurses had lost long ago: hope. "It's another day, Mr. Marcus," she whispered softly, adjusting the bedsheets around his still body. Marcus Adler, once the powerful CEO of Adler Gruppe, one of Munich's largest real estate empires, now lay silent and helpless. It had been a full year since the accident, yet he remained trapped in a coma, frozen in time. The other nurses had long given up on him. "Why bother? He's never waking up," they whispered. "If his own family doesn't care, why should we?" But Naomi refused to see him as a lost cause. She cleaned his body, changed his sheets, and spoke to him as if he could hear her. Every day, she shared a part of her life with him. "Work was hard today," she murmured, settling into the chair beside him. "The hospital is short-staffed again. You're lucky you don't have to deal with all this stress." She chuckled at her own joke, but deep inside she wished he would respond. A blink, a twitch, anything to show he was still in there. But there was nothing, only the steady beeping of the machines. His family had abandoned him. No visitors, no loved ones waiting by his side. But Naomi stayed. She cared for him as if he were one of her own. What she didn't know was that deep inside, Marcus was listening. Before the accident, Marcus Adler was a man everyone feared. As CEO of Adler Gruppe, headquartered in Munich's gleaming business district, he was known for two things: brilliance and ruthlessness. Inside the towering glass building of Adler Holdings, his voice alone could shake an entire boardroom. He didn't believe in second chances. One mistake, and an employee was gone. Competitors saw him as a threat. Business partners walked on eggshells, and even his own family kept their distance. Power was all that mattered to him. His mother had taught him that. She was the daughter of an industrial magnate. She had built her own fortune from the ground up. Marcus was her pride and joy, groomed to be tough, sharp, and untouchable. But when she died, everything changed. His father, Friedrich Adler, remarried, and suddenly Marcus was no longer the most important child. His stepmother, Veronica Adler, made sure of that. She was clever, always pretending to care, but Marcus had seen the greed in her eyes. She didn't love his father. She loved the wealth attached to him. Still, Marcus remained untouchable, until one fateful night. The rain poured heavily as Marcus drove home from Stuttgart that evening. The Autobahn glistened with water, reflecting the blurred glow of city lights. Inside his luxury Mercedes, he was relaxed, satisfied. He had just closed another major deal, a victory that cemented his dominance. Then something felt wrong. He pressed the brake. Nothing. His heart pounded. He tried again. The car didn't slow down. It surged forward, out of control. Panic surged through him. Marcus Adler, the man who always had control over his business, over people, over life itself, was suddenly powerless. The car swerved, spinning wildly on the slick road. A deafening crash. Metal crumpled. Glass shattered. Darkness swallowed him whole. The last sounds he heard were the crunch of steel, the shattering of glass, and the distant wail of sirens. Bystanders rushed to the wreckage. A few brave souls forced open the crumpled door, dragging Marcus's unconscious body from the mangled Mercedes. Blood trickled down his forehead, his tailored suit shredded, his breathing shallow. "Somebody get help!" someone shouted. Minutes later, flashing blue lights illuminated the street. Paramedics worked quickly, checking his pulse, placing an oxygen mask over his face. "He's alive, but barely," one of them said. They secured him onto a stretcher, loaded him into the ambulance, and sped through the storm toward the nearest hospital. Inside the trauma room, doctors fought to stabilize him. He had suffered severe head trauma, multiple fractures, and was unresponsive. After hours of frantic effort, one of them finally sighed and turned to a nurse. "He's in a coma." And so, Marcus Adler, the billionaire who once ruled boardrooms with an iron fist, now lay motionless, trapped between life and death. A year passed. Marcus Adler, once one of Germany's most powerful businessmen, remained in a coma. People assumed that a billionaire like him would have family by his side, fighting to bring him back. But the reality was different. His stepmother, Veronica Adler, came only once. She signed a few papers and left without looking back. His father, Friedrich Adler, visited twice. The first time, he wept over his son's motionless body. The second time, he hired private nurses to care for him, but they didn't stay long. To them, Marcus was a lost cause, a man suspended between life and death. Soon, no one came anymore. The only things keeping him alive were the machines in his private hospital room. Then came Naomi Carter. Unlike the others, she didn't see Marcus as a lifeless body. She saw a man trapped in silence, waiting for someone to bring him back. She had no idea who he really was, no clue that he was a billionaire feared across Germany's business world. To her, he was simply a patient, one she refused to abandon. Naomi had her own struggles. As a single mother who relocated from South Africa, life had never been easy. She worked long shifts at the hospital, barely earning enough to provide for her 6-year-old son, Juma, and her aging mother, Mama Grace. Her mother helped raise Juma during Naomi's night shifts, but even with that support, life was a constant struggle. Bills piled up, school fees never stopped, and Naomi rarely had time to rest. Still, she never let the weight of her problems dim her spirit. Her colleagues often teased her. "Naomi, why waste so much time on that man? He's never waking up." But Naomi always answered the same way. "Even if he never wakes up, at least he'll leave this world knowing someone cared." And so, every day, she returned to Ward 204. She talked to Marcus about her son's school, about the rising prices at the local market, about her frustrations and dreams. Sometimes she even joked with him, laughing softly at her own words. Other times, her voice grew tender as she whispered things she had never told anyone. "I wonder what kind of man you were before this," she said one evening, wiping his forehead with a warm cloth. "I wish you could tell me your story too." The only answer was the steady rhythm of the heart monitor. But Naomi didn't mind. Talking to him had become a part of her life. She didn't know that deep inside his unconscious mind, Marcus was listening and struggling to return. Weeks passed, but Naomi never lost hope. Every morning, she walked into Ward 204, humming softly as she worked. Her voice was the only sound in the quiet room, making it feel less lonely. She would sit beside Marcus's bed, resting her chin on her palm as she looked at his still face. One evening, her voice softened as she spoke. "You know, Mr. Marcus," she murmured, "I never really had a true friend. I mean, I had people around me, but no one who stayed. Even Juma's father left before he was born. He denied the pregnancy and never looked back." Her eyes grew distant, sadness flickering in them. "My whole life I've been the one taking care of others, my mother, my son, my patients." She hesitated, her voice barely above a whisper. "Sometimes I wish someone would take care of me too." She reached for a towel and gently wiped his forehead. "I know you can't hear me, but talking to you makes me feel better. You don't judge me. You don't leave." A small smile touched her lips. "Maybe that's why I keep coming back." And then it happened. As she wiped his arm, Marcus's fingers twitched. Naomi froze, her heart skipping a beat. She leaned closer, her breath caught in her throat. Slowly, carefully, she reached for his hand. "Marcus?" she whispered, her eyes wide with hope. "If you can hear me, move your fingers again." Silence. For a moment, she thought she had imagined it. But then, another small twitch. Her heart pounded. Tears blurred her vision as she gently squeezed his hand. "If you're in there," she whispered, "just know you have a friend. I won't leave you, I promise." Deep inside his unconscious mind, Marcus was trying to wake up, trying to reach the only person who had stayed. Naomi didn't tell anyone at first. She wasn't sure if the movement was real or just a reflex, but a few days later, it happened again, this time stronger. She had been adjusting his IV drip when his fingers moved once more. Her breath caught. This was real. Her hands trembling, she hurried to call the doctor. "Doctor, somebody get Dr. Weber. I think Marcus is waking up." Dr. Weber, the hospital's senior neurologist, entered the room with a doubtful expression. "Naomi, we've seen false hope before." "No," she interrupted, her voice firm. "I've been with him for months. This is different. Please, just check." With a sigh, Dr. Weber approached the bed. He shined a light into Marcus's eyes. "Marcus, if you can hear me, move your fingers." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, his fingers twitched again. Dr. Weber's eyes widened. "My God," he whispered, before quickly correcting himself. "You might be right. He's coming back." Naomi pressed a hand to her chest, her heart racing. After a year of silence, after everyone had given up, Marcus Adler was waking up. Naomi barely slept that night. Her heart raced with hope and fear. What if it was just another false sign? What if Marcus never truly woke up? Still, deep inside, she felt something had changed. The next morning, she hurried into Ward 204. At first, everything looked the same. His face was pale, unmoving. But then she saw it, his fingers twitching again. Naomi moved closer, her voice trembling. "Marcus, if you can hear me, try to open your eyes." For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, his eyelids fluttered. Naomi gasped, her breath caught in her throat. "Marcus." Little by little, his eyes opened. At first, they were unfocused, staring blankly at the ceiling. But then his gaze shifted ever so slightly toward her. Tears filled Naomi's eyes as she squeezed his hand. "You're awake," she whispered. "Oh God, you're awake." Moments later, Dr. Weber rushed in, alerted by the nurse's shouts. He froze when he saw Marcus's eyes open. This is a miracle," he murmured, quickly checking his vitals. Marcus blinked slowly, his lips parting, as if to speak. No words came out. Still, Naomi sat beside him, her hand in his, silent tears streaming down her face. For months she had cared for him, spoken to him, believed in him when no one else did. And now, at last, he was looking back at her. The hospital buzzed with excitement. Marcus Adler, the billionaire who had been in a coma for a year, had opened his eyes. Nurses whispered in the corridors. Doctors exchanged stunned glances. Some had believed he would never wake. Others thought if he did, he would be brain damaged. But Naomi had always believed. Marcus tried to speak again, but no sound came. His lips moved, his chest rose with effort, but the words wouldn't form. His mind felt heavy, fogged with shadows. Dr. Weber leaned close. "Marcus, can you hear me? You're in the hospital. You were in an accident." Marcus blinked slowly. Confusion clouded his expression. "Do you remember your name?" the doctor asked. Silence. His lips parted, but no words followed. He searched his mind, but found nothing. Only darkness. Dr. Weber sighed softly, placing a hand on Naomi's shoulder. "Temporary memory loss. It's common after a coma of this length. His memories may return in time, but for now, we'll need patience." Naomi nodded, her heart both heavy and hopeful. Marcus was awake. That was enough. Across Munich, In a grand villa nestled in Grunwald, Veronica Adler sipped a glass of wine in her luxurious living room. For more than a year, life had been perfect. With Marcus gone, she had taken control of the Adler empire as if it were her own. The world believed Marcus would never wake. His father, Friedrich Adler, had grown weaker with age and grief, relying on Veronica to manage things. One signature after another, she shifted power into her hands, positioning her son and daughter as the rightful heirs. Then the phone rang. "Madam," a nervous voice said on the other end. "He's awake." Veronica's hand froze mid-air. The glass slipped from her fingers and shattered against the marble floor. "What did you just say?" Her voice was dangerously low. "The doctors. They say Mr. Adler is recovering. He doesn't remember anything yet, but he's alive." Her heart pounded. No, this couldn't be happening. If Marcus regained his memory, he would take everything back. Worse, he might uncover the truth about the night of his crash. Veronica clenched her fists, her mind racing. She had been so close. That accident had been carefully planned. The failed brakes, the rain, the crash, it should have ended him forever. And yet, Marcus Adler had survived. Her cold eyes narrowed as she whispered to herself, "If he remembers, it will all be over." Meanwhile, Marcus struggled through his recovery. His muscles were weak, his speech was halting, and his memory was a blank page. He didn't know who he was, what had happened, or even why he was in the hospital. But he recognized one thing, or rather, one person. Whenever Naomi entered the room, something inside him calmed. He didn't remember her, but he felt connected to her in a way he couldn't explain. She was his anchor, the only face he trusted in the blur of confusion. Across the city, however, Veronica paced her private study, gripping her phone tightly. "This is a disaster," she hissed into the receiver. "The only advantage," a deep voice replied on the other end, "is that he doesn't remember anything. Not yet." Veronica's nails dug into her palm. "And if he does?" Silence. Then a chilling chuckle. "Then we make sure he never does." Veronica's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Do whatever it takes. I don't care how. It must be done. He cannot remember the truth." She ended the call, her pulse steadying as resolve hardened inside her. Marcus Adler should have stayed in a coma. If she wanted to keep everything she had stolen, she would have to make sure he never lived long enough to reclaim it. Late one night, the hospital halls were quiet. The fluorescent lights flickered faintly, casting long shadows across the polished floor. Most of the staff had gone home, leaving only a skeleton crew on duty. A figure dressed in black slipped silently through the corridors. His steps were quick, calculated, his face hidden beneath a mask. His intentions were clear: make sure Marcus Adler never woke up again. The door to Ward 204 creaked slightly as he pushed it open. Inside, Marcus lay asleep, his chest rising and falling in shallow rhythm. Beside him, machines beeped steadily. The man reached into his coat and pulled out a syringe. Inside, a clear liquid glistened under the dim light, enough to stop a heart within seconds. He stepped closer, holding Marcus's arm firmly, ready to plunge the needle in. But just then, the door swung open. Naomi. She had forgotten her sweater in Marcus's room and had come back to retrieve it. For a moment, her breath caught as she froze in the doorway. The sight before her made her blood run cold. A stranger looming over Marcus, syringe in hand. Her instincts took over. Without thinking, she grabbed the nearest object, a metal tray from the counter, and swung it with all her strength. Clang! The tray struck the man's arm. He cursed under his breath, the syringe slipping from his hand and clattering to the floor. "Help!" Naomi screamed, her voice ringing down the hall. "Somebody help!" The man staggered back, clutching his arm. Hearing the footsteps of security and nurses rushing toward the room, he bolted for the door. Within seconds, he disappeared into the shadows of the hospital corridor, vanishing before anyone could catch him. Two guards burst into the room. What happened? Naomi's chest heaved as she pointed to the syringe lying on the floor. "Someone tried to kill him," she gasped. The room spun as adrenaline coursed through her body. She turned to Marcus. He remained asleep, oblivious to how close he had come to death. Naomi's hands trembled as she lowered herself into the chair beside him. One thing was certain now. Someone wanted Marcus Adler dead, and they weren't going to stop until he was gone. The assassination attempt shook Naomi to her core. She barely slept that night, jumping at every sound in the hospital corridors. Her hands trembled as she checked the locks on Marcus's room, refusing to leave his side. Whoever wanted him dead wasn't finished. The next morning, Naomi sat by his bed, holding his hand as he slept. She whispered softly, her voice steady even though fear gnawed at her chest. "I don't know who you were before, but someone is afraid of you waking up. That must mean you were important. Don't worry, I won't let them hurt you." Marcus couldn't explain it, but deep in his fogged mind, fragments began to surface. Flashes of boardrooms, the echo of his own voice giving orders. And most chilling of all, a blurred image of a woman's face, sharp and cold, whispering words that cut like knives. "You shouldn't have survived the accident." The memory jolted him awake in terror, his chest heaving, eyes wide with fear. Naomi rushed to his side. "Marcus, what is it?" she asked softly, trying to calm him. I think I'm beginning to remember," he whispered, his voice shaking. That evening, Naomi carried a tray of food into his room. She tried to encourage him to eat, but Marcus barely touched it. His mind was far away, battling shadows of the past. Suddenly, her phone buzzed in her pocket. Frowning, she pulled it out. An unknown number. She hesitated before answering. "Hello?" A low, chilling voice responded. "Stay away from him." Naomi's heart skipped a beat. "Who is this?" she demanded, her voice trembling. A dark chuckle echoed on the line. "If you know what's good for you, walk away. Otherwise..." The call abruptly ended. Naomi stood frozen, her hand shaking around the phone. Someone was watching her. Someone knew she was protecting Marcus, and now they were coming for her too. She didn't tell Marcus about the call, not wanting to burden him when he was still so weak, but the fear settled deep in her bones. The following day, as Naomi left the hospital during her break, a sleek white car pulled up beside her. The tinted window rolled down, revealing a woman in an expensive silk blouse. Her sharp eyes fixed on Naomi like daggers. "Get in," the woman ordered. Naomi's breath caught. She knew that woman from the news, Veronica Adler. Naomi hesitated, but the woman's tone left no room for argument. With her heart pounding, she climbed inside. The door shut with a heavy thud, sealing her fate. Veronica's red lips curled into a smirk. "You're smarter than I thought," she said smoothly. Naomi's voice was tight. "What do you mean, and what do you want?" "It's simple," Veronica replied, leaning closer. Her perfume was suffocating. "Walk away. Leave the hospital. Forget you ever met Marcus, my stepson." Naomi swallowed hard. "Oh, Marcus is related to you?" she asked wide-eyed. "Who could have imagined that he had a living family?" Naomi said bitterly. "And you want me to leave him? Especially now that someone is after his life? What if I don't?" Veronica's smile faded, her eyes turning ice cold. "Then you and your little boy may not be so lucky next time." Naomi's blood ran cold. This wasn't just about Marcus anymore. Her son, Juma, was now in danger. But she lifted her chin, her voice steady despite her fear. "I'm not leaving him." Veronica's eyes flashed with warning. "Then you've made a very dangerous choice." Naomi clenched her fists. "If anything happens to me or my son, I'll make sure everyone knows who's behind it." Veronica smirked. "And who will believe you? A poor nurse against me?" Naomi met her gaze, unflinching. "Marcus will." For the first time, Veronica's smile faltered. With a sharp nod, she signaled the driver. The car rolled to a stop outside the hospital. Naomi stepped out, her legs shaky beneath her. The tinted window lowered one last time. "This is your final warning," Veronica said coldly. "Walk away before it's too late." Then the car sped off, leaving Naomi trembling but resolute. She had just made a powerful enemy, and now she knew this was war. The next day, Naomi arrived at the hospital with a heaviness in her chest. She had barely slept, every creak in her small apartment making her fear for Juma and Mama Grace. To be safe, she had already sent them to stay with a distant relative outside Munich. As she walked down the corridor, she noticed nurses whispering, their voices hushed and nervous. Then she heard the words that made her heart pound. "Mr. Adler's stepmother is here." Naomi quickened her pace and pushed open Marcus's door. Her breath caught. Veronica Adler sat at Marcus's bedside, stroking his hand with all the tenderness of a loving parent. Marcus looked up at her with confusion in his tired eyes. Naomi's fists clenched. "Get away from him!" Veronica turned, her smile warm and sweet, her voice dripping with false affection. "Ah, you must be Naomi. I was just telling my dear stepson how much we've missed him." Marcus frowned faintly. "You know me?" Veronica pressed a hand to her chest, her eyes welling with practiced tears. "Of course, my darling. I'm your stepmother. I've prayed every day for your recovery." Naomi's stomach twisted. The same woman who wanted him dead was now pretending to care. "That's a lie," Naomi snapped. "For over a year you never came. You never even called." For a split second, Veronica's mask slipped, her face hardening, but she quickly composed herself, forcing another gentle smile. "I stayed away because it was too painful," she said softly. "You wouldn't understand, but what matters is that you're here now, safe, with your family." Marcus looked between the two women, his mind clouded and unsure. He didn't remember the truth, but something inside him stirred uneasily. When Veronica finally left, Naomi sank into the chair, her heart racing. She had seen enough to know the danger was real. Veronica was back, and she wasn't pretending for Marcus's sake. She was preparing to strike again. That night, Naomi searched her phone for answers. She typed, "Marcus Adler accident." Within moments, an old headline appeared on her screen. "Police investigate possible foul play in Billionaire's crash." Her breath caught as she read. Investigators had discovered signs that Marcus's brakes had been tampered with. His accident hadn't been random, it had been planned. But no suspects were named. After a few weeks, the case had quietly disappeared from the news. Naomi's grip on her phone tightened. She didn't need further proof. Veronica Adler had tried to kill him once, and if she was pretending to love him now, it was only to get close enough to finish what she started. Naomi's chest rose with determination. She wasn't going to let that happen. Naomi sat by Marcus's bed later that evening, her phone still clutched in her hand. Her mind raced with what she had read, but she knew she couldn't keep it from him. She leaned forward, her voice soft. "Do you trust me, Marcus?" He turned his tired eyes toward her and gave a faint nod. Naomi took a deep breath and held out her phone. "Then please, look at this." Marcus's gaze dropped to the screen. His hands trembled slightly as he held the device, scanning the headline. "Police suspect foul play in Billionaire's crash." His heart pounded. A strange, uneasy feeling washed over him as he read the details. Brakes tampered, accident, deliberate. Someone wanted him dead. Flashes struck his mind. The screech of tires, his car spinning out of control, his hands gripping the wheel, pressing the brake. Nothing. Then the crash. His breath quickened. He shut his eyes, clutching his temples as pain seared through his skull. "Marcus!" Naomi's voice was urgent, her hand reaching for his. He opened his eyes, fear and realization mixing in his expression. This wasn't an accident. Naomi squeezed his hand firmly. "I know. Someone tampered with your car." His throat tightened. "But who? Who would do this to me?" Naomi hesitated, then spoke carefully. "I think it was Veronica." The name alone sent another shock of pain through his head. More images flashed. A heated argument. Veronica's sharp voice echoing in his memory. "You act like this company belongs only to you, like my children and I don't matter, but soon we'll see who truly holds the power." Marcus's eyes widened as the memory snapped into focus. He looked at Naomi, his chest rising with ragged breaths. She wanted me dead. Naomi nodded gravely. We'll need proof, and we'll need to be careful. If she finds out you're remembering, she might try again. Marcus exhaled slowly, his jaw tightening. Then let's find the truth before she gets another chance. The following morning, Marcus asked to see his father. The request carried weight. His voice was weak, but his eyes were sharp with determination. By afternoon, Friedrich Adler arrived at the hospital. The once formidable patriarch now looked older, weighed down by guilt and regret. Marcus wasted no time. His voice shook with both anger and pain. Father, even you abandoned me here. You left me to my fate, and now I find out someone wanted me dead. Friedrich froze. His face paled as the words sank in. Marcus, what are you saying? I know the crash wasn't an accident, Marcus said firmly. His eyes darkened. Someone tampered with my brakes. His father's hands trembled. He sank into the chair beside the bed, his breath shaky. For a long moment, silence hung heavy in the room. Then, with a voice thick with shame, Friedrich finally spoke.
I was a fool, Marcus. I ignored the signs. I thought it was only jealousy.
His eyes glistened with regret. Your stepmother, she always saw you as a threat to her children. I never believed she would go so far. Marcus leaned forward, his pulse racing. What do you mean? What signs? Friedrich swallowed hard. I overheard her once. She was on the phone, her words. He paused, his voice dropping to a whisper. She said, make sure he doesn't come back alive. The words hit Marcus like a blow. His chest tightened, his fists clenching beneath the sheets. His own stepmother had ordered his death. The truth was undeniable now. Veronica Adler hadn't just wished him gone. She had tried to erase him forever. Marcus lay back against the pillows, his jaw tightening as fury burned in his chest. If he stayed in the hospital, he was vulnerable. He needed to leave. That evening, Naomi returned to his room and found him awake, his expression grave. I can't stay here, he told her. It's not safe. I have a property outside Munich, an estate no one knows about. If I'm going to recover, it has to be there, away from her eyes. Naomi frowned. Are you strong enough to leave? I have no choice, Marcus replied. His voice was calm but resolute. If Veronica learns I'm remembering, she won't stop until she finishes what she started. Naomi's chest tightened, but she nodded. She understood. She would go with him. The plan was set. Under the cover of night, Marcus was quietly discharged from the hospital. Only a handful of trusted staff knew. A private doctor had already been arranged to continue his care in secret. Naomi stayed close as he was wheeled into a discreet black vehicle. The streets of Munich were quiet, the city lights blurring past like fading memories. Marcus leaned against the seat, his body weak, but his spirit hardened. I have to survive, he whispered, his voice low but firm. I have to take back everything that was stolen from me. Naomi reached for his hand, holding it tightly. Her grip was warm, steady. You will, she said softly, and I'll be right here with you. For the first time in a long while, Marcus felt he wasn't alone. The car slowed as they approached tall iron gates hidden behind a wall of trees. Beyond them stood Marcus's secret estate, an isolated mansion he had kept for himself, far from the eyes of family and enemies. As the gates opened, the headlights illuminated the vast property. The mansion rose in the distance, grand and imposing, its marble pillars gleaming faintly under the moonlight. Expansive gardens stretched across the grounds, hedges cut to perfection, fountains still running despite months of neglect. To outsiders, it was a fortress. To Marcus, it was now a hideout. Inside, the estate was breathtaking. Marble floors glistened under soft lights, crystal chandeliers hung from vaulted ceilings, and grand staircases curved upward with elegance. But Marcus barely noticed. To him, it wasn't a home. It was a refuge, a place to heal. Naomi helped him settle into a private suite overlooking the gardens. She remained at his side as the private doctor set up his medications and therapy plan. Day by day, she guided him through the slow, painful steps of recovery, helping him sit up, exercise weak muscles, and regain his strength. Through it all, Marcus's mind remained restless. Healing wasn't enough. He needed proof. Proof that Veronica had tried to kill him. Proof that would expose her and take back everything she had stolen. One evening, Friedrich Adler arrived at the mansion. He looked older than ever, his shoulders heavy with regret. In his hand, he carried a small flash drive. He placed it on the table before Marcus. Marcus frowned. "What's this?" Friedrich's voice was low, burdened with guilt. "A recording. Something I kept. I didn't know what to do with it, but it may be what you need." Naomi quickly opened the laptop and played the file. Veronica's cold, unmistakable voice filled the room. "I don't care what you have to do. Marcus must never survive. If the accident didn't kill him, make sure he doesn't leave that hospital alive." Naomi gasped, her hand covering her mouth. Marcus's jaw tightened, his fists clenching. It was the proof they had been waiting for. Now, there was no doubt. Veronica Adler had tried to end him. And it was time to bring her down. The very next morning, Marcus and his father took the flash drive to the Munich police headquarters. Naomi accompanied them, her presence a quiet pillar of strength. Inside the station, the officers listened intently as the recording played. Veronica's icy voice filled the room. "Make sure he doesn't come back alive. If the accident didn't kill him, finish the job." The officers exchanged dark looks. One of them leaned forward. "This is more than enough. With this, we can act immediately." Relief washed over Marcus, though it was tinged with anger. After all the pain, all the betrayal, justice was finally within reach. That evening, police vehicles surrounded Veronica Adler's villa. She was in the middle of an elaborate dinner when uniformed officers stormed the estate. "Veronica Adler," one officer declared, "you are under arrest for attempted murder and conspiracy." Veronica's eyes widened, though she quickly tried to compose herself. "This is outrageous. Do you know who I am?" she snapped. Another officer held up the flash drive. "We have a recording of your voice, ma'am. You ordered the attack on Marcus Adler." For the first time, her mask of elegance slipped. Her face turned pale as the handcuffs clicked around her wrists. "No," she hissed, struggling against the officers. "This is a mistake, I demand." Her protests were drowned out as she was led away, her world crumbling piece by piece. Marcus, who had followed the policemen to witness the arrest by himself, stood by the gates of the villa watching the flashing blue lights as the police cars took Veronica away, disappearing into the night. He felt no triumph, only relief. The nightmare that had haunted him for over a year was finally over. With Veronica behind bars, Marcus could breathe freely again. For the first time, he felt the weight lift from his chest. Now, it was time to rebuild. The first step toward rebuilding his life was returning to the company he once ruled with an iron fist, Adler Group A. The day Marcus Adler walked back through the glass doors of the headquarters in Munich, the entire office fell silent. Employees froze mid-task, eyes wide in disbelief. Whispers spread like wildfire. "Is that Herr Adler? He's alive?" One junior employee stammered, "Sir, you're alive." Marcus gave a small smile, very much alive. But the man standing before them was not the same ruthless CEO they remembered. The old Marcus had been cold, calculating, feared more than respected. This Marcus had been broken and remade. He knew what it felt like to be abandoned, to be powerless, to depend on the kindness of one person when the whole world had turned away. Within weeks, changes swept through Adler Group A. Salaries were increased, strict policies were adjusted, and a new focus was placed on employee well-being. Marcus took the time to listen, to acknowledge, and to lead with compassion. At first, many struggled to believe the transformation was real. But as the days turned into weeks, they saw it. Marcus Adler had changed. Life had given him a second chance, and he was determined not to waste it. Outside the corporate world, his personal life bloomed. Marcus and Naomi grew closer with each passing day. He trusted her more than anyone, knowing she had stayed when everyone else had walked away. Her laughter filled the once empty halls of his mansion, and her son, Juma, brought a joy he had never known. One evening, as they strolled through the quiet gardens of his estate, Marcus stopped beneath the soft glow of lanterns. His voice was low, filled with emotion. "Naomi, you've done more for me than I can ever repay. You saved my life. You stood by me when I had nothing, and you never gave up on me." Naomi blushed, shaking her head. "I only did what was right." He reached for her hand, holding it tightly. "No, Naomi. You gave me a reason to live again. Without you, I don't know if I'd even be here." Their eyes met, the world fading around them. What Marcus felt wasn't just gratitude. It wasn't just admiration. It was love. Before Marcus could take the next step with Naomi, he knew he had to meet the two people who meant the world to her son and her mother. One Saturday afternoon, Naomi invited him to her modest apartment on the outskirts of Munich. Marcus arrived without fanfare, dressed simply, without the aura of a billionaire CEO. For once, he wanted to be seen as just a man. Mama Grace, Naomi's aging but warm-hearted mother, was surprised when she opened the door to find Marcus Adler, the man everyone in Germany thought had been lost forever, standing before her. But her surprise quickly softened into kindness. She welcomed him in with open arms, serving tea as if he were family already. From behind the couch, Juma peeked shyly at Marcus. His big, curious eyes studied him with caution. Marcus crouched down to his level and smiled gently. "Hi, Juma. Your mom has told me a lot about you." Juma tilted his head. "Are you Mommy's friend?" Marcus chuckled softly. "Yes, and I was hoping I could be her best friend forever." The little boy giggled. "Okay, but you have to buy me a blue bicycle first." Laughter filled the room, breaking the ice. For the first time, Marcus felt what he had been missing all his life. Not power, not wealth, but family. From that day forward, Marcus became a regular presence in Naomi's home. He helped Juma with his homework, shared quiet conversations with Mama Grace, and accompanied Naomi on simple errands that grounded him in a life far removed from the corporate empire he once ruled. The mansion no longer felt empty with Naomi, Juma, and Mama Grace visiting often. It began to echo with laughter, warmth, and the simple chaos of family life. Marcus realized he didn't just want Naomi by his side. He wanted her entire world to become his. A week later, Marcus decided it was time. Naomi had stood by him through the darkest moments of his life. She wasn't just the woman who saved him. She was the woman he wanted to spend forever with. He planned a special evening at his mansion. The balcony overlooking the city was transformed into something out of a dream. Roses lined the edges, fairy lights twinkled like stars, and dozens of candles glowed warmly in the night air. The faint scent of fresh flowers drifted through the cool breeze, while the skyline of Munich shimmered in the distance. When Naomi stepped onto the balcony, she gasped. Her hand flew to her mouth, her eyes wide at the breathtaking sight. Before she could take it all in, Marcus took her hand and gently lowered himself to one knee. His voice trembled with emotion as he looked up at her. "Naomi, you are my angel, my saving grace, my best friend, and my greatest blessing. I don't want to spend another day without you. Will you marry me?" Naomi's eyes filled with tears. Her heart pounded as overwhelming joy washed over her. She covered her mouth, nodding quickly before whispering, "Yes, yes, Marcus, I will marry you." A radiant smile spread across his face as he slid a ring onto her finger. At that very moment, fireworks lit up the night sky, their brilliant colors reflecting in Naomi's tear-filled eyes. Marcus rose to his feet, pulling her into his arms. As they held each other tightly, they knew this wasn't just a proposal, it was the beginning of forever. The wedding of Marcus Adler and Naomi Carter quickly became the talk of Munich. Invitations went out to family, close friends, and a few select dignitaries. Business moguls, celebrities, and officials gathered in a breathtaking garden venue on the edge of the city. The ceremony was nothing short of magical. Flowers bloomed in every corner, soft classical music drifted through the air, and a warm golden light bathed the guests. Yet for Marcus and Naomi, the world around them blurred. It felt like it was only the two of them. Naomi walked down the aisle, a vision of elegance in a flowing white gown that shimmered in the afternoon sun. At her side, little Juma proudly clutched her hand, escorting her down the aisle. At the altar, Marcus stood tall, his heart pounding as he watched the woman who had changed his life forever. When she reached him, he leaned close and whispered, "You are the most beautiful bride in the world." Naomi's cheeks flushed as she smiled back at him, her eyes glistening. The vows were spoken with deep emotion. Marcus's voice was steady, every word heavy with truth. "I promise to love you forever, Naomi, to stand by you through everything. You gave me life when I had nothing left, and I will cherish you for all my days." Naomi's eyes brimmed with tears as she whispered her own vow. "I promise to be your partner, your friend, and your home. No matter what comes, I will never leave your side." The officiant's voice rang out clearly. "By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Marcus, you may kiss your bride." As their lips met, the garden erupted in cheers. The air filled with applause, laughter, and music. Fireworks burst above them, painting the sky in dazzling colors. In that perfect moment, surrounded by love, family, and celebration, Marcus and Naomi became one. And that, dear friends, is how Marcus Adler found love, family, and redemption after a year lost to betrayal and darkness. His story reminds us that no matter how deep the pain, no matter how ruthless the enemies, we can rise, heal, and find our true beginning. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more breathtaking tales of love, betrayal, and second chances. And tell me in the comments, what part of Marcus and Naomi's journey touched your heart the most?